When Florence Ndaha, a resident of Gulu City, was diagnosed with COVID-19 on June 4th, doctors recommended admission in St. Mary's Hospital, Lacho, a private hospital, because her oxygen level was low.
Then he said it was severe pneumonia. Later on, I was told I have COVID.
Ndaha, who is 64, suffers from high blood pressure, diabetes, and a heart condition. She was worried about the hospital bill, but surprisingly, the total was less than 500,000 shillings.
The first bill I paid was for this diabetic was the injectable. I paid 20,000 shillings. Oxygen we did not pay for. No one paid for. Even those who actually stayed much longer than me.
She was fully discharged on June 11th after a full recovery. Dr. Cyprian Opira, the executive director of Lacho Hospital, says the facility has kept its charges as low as possible to guarantee affordable medical services.
It's only some exceptional drugs which are not on the hospital formulary, which then the patient pays the cost. But also government of Uganda gives us primary health conditional grant. And then during the first outbreak, we got ventilators, ultrasound machines, and some other supplies, which is making us able to charge this minimum rate.
The cost of spending a day on oxygen is astronomical nowadays in private hospitals, especially in Kampala and Wakiso. However, one wonders why this is so when Roofing's group is providing medical oxygen to government and mission-based hospitals free of charge.
We actually do refilling of empty cylinders that are provided to us. And this mainly is under the supervision of the Ministry of Health.
Production at the oxygen plant has increased to 300 cylinders every 24 hours. For instance, on the day NTV visited the plant, Mulago Hospital had refilled 350 cylinders, while Entebbe Hospital refilled 42.
And that amounts to about 2,100 cubic meters of oxygen. I don't know how much is the consumption, but I think it is up and down. We are not selling to individuals because this is not, sale of oxygen is not our core business.
Dr. Opira says the high cost of oxygen in private hospitals is an indicator that government should equip its own hospitals, which the underprivileged can afford.
The private facilities are just supplementing government efforts. So the government efforts should be more so that those who cannot afford can, go to the government units, and those who can afford can go to the private units.
Dr. Charles Solaro, the Director of Curative Services in the Ministry of Health, advises that only health workers are qualified to administer oxygen therapy at home.
You will be followed up, you will be assessed. So if there is any changes, like difficulty in breathing, probably you have a small pulse oximeter, which is able to measure your heart rate and then your oxygen saturation. Even if the saturation rate is at 94% and you're having difficulty in breathing, then probably you need to be evacuated to the hospital.
First of all, the cylinder is attracting an explosive because the oxygen is at high pressure. If somebody does not know how to regulate the valve and whatnot, it could injure someone very easily.
The treatment of COVID-19 should be manageable to all Ugandans, especially now that inter-district movement has been restricted. Gillian Nantume, NTV, Weekend Edition.